I am not a perfect person. I talk too much when I'm nervous. I laugh at the wrong times. And I have this habit, a really, really bad habit of thinking I know what other people are thinking. I play this game in my head. I call it the fortune teller game. I see someone's face and I decide what their expression means. A quick look away, they hate me. A short text, they are angry. A long pause on the phone, they found someone better. My boyfriend, Leo, did not play this game. Leo was, how do I say this? Leo was a wall of calm, a human blanket. When I was a storm, he was the quiet inside a library. He worked at a small plant shop. Yes, a plant shop. He talked to the ferns like they were his old friends. He had dirt under his fingernails all the time, and he smelled like wet soil and rain. I loved that smell. I still love that smell. We met on a Tuesday, a boring Tuesday. I was buying a plant because I wanted to feel like an adult who had her life together. I picked a small cactus. Leo looked at me, smiled, not a big smile, just a small one, like a secret, and said, that one is angry. Pick the fern. The fern is patient. I laughed, and something clicked. You know that feeling? When a stranger feels more like home than your own apartment. That was Leo. For 2 years, it was easy. So easy. We cooked bad food together. We fought about silly things, like which way the toilet paper should hang. He was wrong, by the way. It goes over the top. Don't argue with me. We had our own language. Inside jokes. 1,000 small moments that built a wall around us, a wall that said, we are safe here. But safe things can break. And they don't break with a loud noise. They break with a whisper. The trouble started small, like a tiny crack in a window. You don't notice it at first. But then winter comes and the cold slips through. Leo started working late. A lot. The plant shop was opening a new location, and he was in charge of the greenhouse. He would come home exhausted. His hands were more dirty than usual. His eyes were tired. He would kiss my forehead quick, like a bird pecking, and fall asleep on the couch. I told myself, Olive, stop it. He's just busy. This is normal. But my brain, my silly, dramatic brain, started whispering other things. He didn't look at you when he walked in. He didn't laugh at your joke. He's hiding his phone. One night, I tried to be funny. I made his favorite food, burnt spaghetti. I always burn it. It's my special talent. He came home, saw the food, and didn't smile. He said, thanks, Olive. I ate at work. Then he went to the bedroom. Just like that. No hug. No, maybe later. Nothing. I stood in the kitchen. Just me and the burnt spaghetti. And I felt invisible. That's the word. Not angry. Not yet. Just invisible. Like I was a ghost in my own love story. I started watching him. Not in a creepy way. In a scared way. I noticed he was on his phone more. Typing. Smiling at the screen. But when I walked into the room, he would put the phone down face down. Have you ever seen someone put their phone face down? That is not a good sign. A person who puts their phone face down is hiding something. Or at least, that's what I told myself. I asked him once, who are you texting so much? He looked up confused. Just work stuff. The new shop is a mess. Then he changed the subject. He asked about my day, but his voice was flat, like he was reading a grocery list, not talking to his girlfriend. Here is the mistake I made. The biggest mistake. I did not ask again. I did not say, Leo, I feel scared. Can you look at me and tell me everything is okay? No. I smiled. I said, okay, cool. And I went to the bathroom and sat on the edge of the bathtub for 10 minutes, feeling like my heart was a balloon filling with too much air. This is for you listening. If you take one thing from this story, take this. Ask the scary question. Ask it before the silence grows too big. Because silence is not peaceful. Silence is a seed. And if you water it with worry, it grows into a wall. The next week was worse. Leo forgot my doctor's appointment. He forgot we had plans to see a movie. He forgot to buy milk. Small things. But small things stack up, don't they? Like tiny bricks. Each forgotten thing was another brick in that wall between us. I remember a Thursday night. It was raining. He was in the living room on his laptop. I was in the kitchen making tea. I saw his phone light up on the counter. A message from someone named S. Just the letter S. The message said, "I can't stop thinking about yesterday. You make everything better." My blood went cold. Not cold like ice. Cold like a draft. My hands started shaking. I read it 3 times. "I can't stop thinking about yesterday. You make everything better." Who says that to a coworker? Who says that about a plant shop? I walked into the living room. I held up the phone. My voice sounded weird. "Hi." Broken. I said, "Leo." "Who is us?" He looked at the phone. Then he looked at me, and his face did something strange. He didn't look guilty. He looked tired. So tired. He ran his hands through his hair and said, "Olive, it's not what you think." And there it was. The most famous line in the world. The line that every person says right before they break your heart. It's not what you think. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But my fortune teller game was already playing the movie in my head. I saw him with another person. I saw him laughing with someone else. I saw myself alone. So I said something I will regret until the day I die. I said, "Then explain it. Right now. What is not what I think?" Leo stood up. He looked at the rain outside the window. He looked back at me. And he said, "I'm too tired for this tonight, Olive. I've been working 16 hours. Can we just not fight? Not fight." I laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It was a hurt laugh. You're texting someone named S that they make everything better. And you don't want to fight? You want to go to sleep. He picked up his laptop and his phone. He walked to the bedroom. He closed the door. Not a slam. A soft click. That was worse. A soft click says, "You are not worth the energy of a slam." I slept on the couch that night. I didn't cry. I just stared at the ceiling. The rain sounded like tiny hammers. Every drop hit the roof and I thought, that's another second of my life wasted on fear. The next morning, he left early. He left a note on the table. It said, "S is my sister. Her name is Sarah. She is going through a divorce. She stayed with me yesterday. We talked for 5 hours. She said I make her feel better because I listen." You didn't let me explain. I'm sorry you don't trust me. Leo. I read that note 7 times. 7. The first time, I felt relief. Oh, sweet relief. It was his sister. His sister. I almost laughed. I almost called him and said, "I'm an idiot. I'm a jealous fool. Come home and I'll burn more spaghetti for you." But then I read it again. And the relief turned into something else. Shame. Hot, ugly shame. Because look at what I did. I didn't ask. I accused. I held up his phone like a detective. I forced him to defend himself. And when he was exhausted, 16 hours of work, plus 5 hours helping his sad sister, I demanded an explanation like he was a criminal. The 3rd time I read the note, the shame turned into anger. But not at him. At myself. Why am I like this? Why do I always think the worst? Why can't I just trust that someone loves me? The 4th time, I noticed the last sentence. "I'm sorry you don't trust me." He didn't say, "I'm sorry you're hurt." He didn't say, "I'm sorry for the misunderstanding." He said, "I'm sorry you don't trust me." That is a different kind of sorry. That is a sorry that means this is a pattern. And I am tired. I sat at the table for an hour. The note in my hand. The burnt spaghetti from 2 nights ago still in the trash. And I realized something terrible. The misunderstanding wasn't about the text. The misunderstanding was about us. About who we had become. He became a person who was too tired to explain. And I became a person who was too scared to ask. Do you know what happened next? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I did not call him. He did not call me. We both just stopped. It's funny, isn't it? How 2 people can share a bed, a bathroom, a life, and then one small fight turns into a desert of silence. Day 1, I thought he would come home and apologize for being distant. Day 2, he slept at his sister's place. Day 3, I sent a text. It just said, "Are we okay?" He replied 4 hours later. I don't know, Olive. Are we? That text destroyed me. Are we? Not yes. Not let's talk. Just a question thrown back at me like a ball I didn't want to catch. This is the part of the story where I tell you I did something brave. I wish I could say I drove to his plant shop, threw my arms around him, and said, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Let's fix this. But I didn't. Because I am proud. Too proud. Pride is a heavy coat. It keeps you warm, but it also keeps you from feeling anything real. Instead, I waited. I waited for him to fix it. I told myself he should fight for me. He should come back with flowers and a speech. He should prove that I matter. But here is the truth I learned too late. Love is not a movie. People do not always fight for you. Sometimes they are just as scared as you are. Sometimes they are waiting for you to fight for them. A week passed. Then 2 weeks. We sent a few texts. Boring texts. Did you feed the cat? Yes. Okay. That was our romance. 2 okays and a dead silence. I started to forget what his laugh sounded like. I started to forget the way he smelled like soil. But I could not forget the note. I'm sorry you don't trust me. Those words became a song stuck in my head. A sad song that played on repeat while I brushed my teeth, while I drove to work, while I tried to sleep. One night, I got brave. Not brave enough to call, but brave enough to text a long message. I wrote, Leo, I am sorry I didn't trust you. I am working on it. I miss you. I miss the fern. I miss the burnt spaghetti. Can we please talk? Really talk. I stared at the send button for 5 minutes. My thumb hovered. Then I pressed send. And then I waited. 1 minute. 5 minutes. An hour. No reply. The next morning, I woke up and checked my phone. Nothing. My heart dropped into my stomach. I checked again at lunch. Nothing. That night, I finally got a message. But it was not from Leo. It was from his number, but the words were not his. The message said, Hi Olive. This is Sarah, Leo's sister. He left his phone here. He's okay. He just needs some space. He's been staying with me. He's really hurt. I'm sorry. Space. That word. That horrible, empty word. Space is just a nice way of saying go away for a while. I wrote back, Can you tell him I want to fix this? Sarah wrote back, He knows. But he said you broke something. And he's not sure if glue works on hearts. Ouch! That hurt. That hurt like stepping on a Lego in the dark. Because she was right. You can glue a broken mug. But every time you pour hot tea into it, you see the cracks. The cracks are always there. I cried that night. Real crying. The ugly kind with snot and shaking shoulders. I cried because I missed him. But I also cried because I was angry at myself for being the one who broke us. And the worst part? It was over a text message. A stupid text message from his sister. If I had just waited 5 minutes. If I had just asked, who is S, like a normal person, instead of holding his phone like a weapon. But I didn't. And now I was alone. The next 3 weeks were the longest of my life. Have you ever felt grief for something that is not dead? Leo wasn't dead. He was just gone. He was 10 minutes away, probably watering his ferns, and I could not touch him. I could not hear him. I started talking to myself. Not in a crazy way, just little things. I would make tea and say out loud, Olive, you remembered the honey this time. Good job. Because the silence in my apartment was so loud, I needed to fill it with something. I also started journaling. I know. Sounds like a movie. But I had so many thoughts in my head, I thought my brain would explode. I wrote things like, Dear Journal, today I saw a man with dirty hands buying coffee. It wasn't him. My heart stopped anyway. This is stupid. And, Dear Journal, I think I am learning that love is not just feeling good together. Love is also what you do when you feel bad. I felt bad, and I did the wrong thing. One day, I was walking past the plant shop. I didn't plan to go in. My feet just took me there. I looked through the window, and I saw him. Leo. He was holding a small fern. He was talking to a customer. He was smiling. A real smile. Not the tired one he had at home. A warm, easy smile. And next to him was a woman. She had short hair and kind eyes. She was laughing at something he said. That was Sarah, his sister. I knew it was her because she looked just like him. My first feeling was jealousy. a hot flash. But then I took a breath. I watched them. She put her hand on his shoulder. He leaned into her. And I realized he is not alone. He has support. He has people who love him. I was not his only person. And maybe that was okay. I almost walked in. I had my hand on the door. But then I saw his face change. He looked up. He saw me through the glass. Our eyes met. And do you know what he did? Nothing. He just looked at me. No smile. No wave. Just a long, tired look. And then he turned back to the fern. I let go of the door. I walked away. And I felt my heart crack a little more. That night, I made a decision. I decided to stop waiting. I decided to write him a letter. A real letter. On paper. Because texts are too easy to ignore. Paper is real. It has weight. I bought a simple card. It had a drawing of 2 chairs on a porch. Nothing romantic. Just 2 chairs. I wrote, Leo, I am not writing to fix everything. I am writing to say I see myself now. And I don't like what I see. I was scared. I made a story in my head about you and that text. The story was wrong. But the story was also about me. I don't trust love. I never have. I always think it will leave. So I pushed it away before it could leave on its own. That is not your fault. That is mine. You are a good man who talks to ferns. You are patient. You are kind. I was not kind. I am sorry. If you ever want to sit on a porch with me and say nothing, I will be here. I will be quiet. And I will listen. Love, Olive. I put the card in an envelope. I walked to his apartment. I slid it under his door. And then I went home. And I waited. 3 days. That is how long it took for him to reply. 3 days of checking my mailbox like a crazy person. 3 days of jumping every time my phone buzzed. 3 days of telling myself he's not coming back. Move on, Olive. But I didn't move on. I couldn't. Because when you truly love someone, you don't just turn it off. Love is not a light switch. Love is a tree. You can cut it down, but the roots stay in the ground for years. On the 3rd day, I came home from work. I was tired. My feet hurt. I opened my apartment door. And there, on the kitchen table, was a small pot. With a fern. A small, green, patient fern. And next to it, a note. His handwriting. Messy. Rushed. It said, Olive. I read your letter 12 times. The first time, I was angry. The 5th time, I was sad. The 12th time, I missed you. I don't know if we can go back, but I would like to sit in 2 chairs and say nothing. Come to the park. The one by the river. Saturday. 3 p.m., I will bring the silence. You bring the burnt spaghetti. Just kidding. Don't bring food. Leo. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. And then I cried. Happy tears and sad tears mixed together. Because a fern and a joke was his way of saying, the door is still open. Just a little. Saturday felt like a year away. I spent the whole week not knowing what to wear, what to say, what to do with my hands. I practiced conversations in the mirror. Hi. Too simple. I missed you so much I stopped sleeping. Too desperate. The fern is beautiful. Too safe. Finally, I decided to say nothing. Just show up. Just be there. Saturday came. It was a sunny day. Not too hot. The kind of day that makes you feel like anything is possible. I walked to the park by the river. My heart was beating so fast, I thought people could hear it. I saw the bench. The one near the big oak tree. And I saw him. Leo was sitting on the bench. He was wearing a blue shirt. The one I liked. The one that made his eyes look like the sky. He had 2 cups of coffee. One for him. One for me. He looked at me when I was 20 feet away. He didn't smile. But he didn't frown either. He just looked. Like he was seeing me for the first time. I sat down next to him. Not too close. Not too far. About 6 inches of bench between us. He handed me the coffee. I said, thank you. He said, you're welcome. And then we sat. In silence. Real silence. Not the angry silence from before. A new silence. A careful silence. The kind of silence that says, I am here. You are here. We are both afraid. But we are not running away. We sat like that for 15 minutes, just watching the river, watching a dog chase a stick, watching an old couple hold hands. And then Leo spoke. His voice was soft. He said, "I was not just tired, Olive. I was lonely, even when I was with you, because you stopped asking about my day. You stopped looking at me. You started looking for proof that I was lying. And that hurt. That hurt more than the fight." I put my coffee down. I turned to him. I said, "I know. And I am so sorry. I was so busy looking for what was wrong, I forgot to look at what was right. You were right. I didn't trust you. But I want to learn. I want to be better." He looked at me. His eyes were wet. He said, "I am not perfect either, Olive." I stopped talking. I hid in my work. I put my phone face down because I didn't want to talk about work at home. But I should have told you that. I should have said, "I'm tired, but I still love you." Instead, I just left. I left you in the kitchen with burnt spaghetti. That was mean. We both laughed. A small, sad, healing laugh. He reached over and took my hand. His hand was warm, rough from the dirt. It felt like coming home. He said, "I don't know if we can fix this, but I want to try. Slowly. No big promises. Just trying." I squeezed his hand. I said, "Trying is all I want." And that is the truth. Trying is not a movie ending. Trying is not fireworks at a wedding. Trying is showing up. Trying is saying, "I am scared, but I am here." Trying is putting your phone face up. Trying is asking the scary question before the silence builds a wall. We walked along the river that day. We talked about small things. The weather. A funny bird. The fern he gave me. We did not talk about the fight. We did not talk about S or the text or the note. Not yet. That conversation would come later, on another day, with more tears and more honesty. But for that afternoon, we just walked. And it was enough. Here is what I learned. And I want you to remember this. Misunderstandings do not happen because people are evil. They happen because people are tired. People are scared. People are carrying old wounds from old loves, and they put those wounds on new people. I was carrying a fear from my past, a fear that everyone I love will leave. And I put that fear on Leo. And Leo was carrying a fear from his past, a fear that he is not enough, that he works too much, that he will fail. And he put that fear on me. We were two scared people, holding up mirrors instead of holding hands. The healing did not happen overnight. The weeks after the park were slow. We started small. 1 dinner a week. No phones. Just us. Then 2 dinners. Then a movie. Then a night at his place. He taught me how to water the ferns without drowning them. I taught him how to burn spaghetti on purpose. Some things should never change. And slowly, the wall came down. Brick by brick. Each brick was a conversation. Each brick was an apology. Each brick was a moment of choosing trust over fear. One night, about 2 months later, we were lying on his couch. The rain was hitting the window. He was playing with my hair. I turned to him and said, "Leo, the next time I act crazy, will you just hug me? Even if you're tired? Even if I'm wrong?" He smiled. That real smile. The one from the plant shop. He said, "Only if you promise to tell me when I'm being distant. Don't just go silent. Say, 'Leo, you're being a quiet plant person. Talk to me.'" I laughed. Deal. And then he said something I will never forget. He said, "Love is not about never hurting each other. Love is about hurting each other and then choosing to stay anyway. Choosing to bandage the cut instead of running away." I kissed his cheek. I said, "I choose to stay." He said, "Me too." So here we are, at the end of my story, but also not the end. Because love stories do not really end. They just keep going. They have good days and bad days. They have burnt spaghetti and new ferns. They have texts that scare you and notes that heal you. If you are listening to this and you are in a misunderstanding right now, with a partner, a friend, a family member, please do not wait. Do not let the silence build a wall. Ask the scary question. Say the scary words. Say, "I am scared. I am hurt. But I want to understand." And if the other person is too tired to talk, give them the note. Slip it under the door. Write, "I am here. I am sorry. I want to try." Because sometimes, love lost in a misunderstanding can be found again. Not the same, never the same, but maybe stronger. Because now you know where the cracks are. And you can be careful with them. You can be gentle. My name is Olive. And I am still learning. Every day, I am learning to trust. I am learning to ask. I am learning that love is not a game of fortune telling. It is a garden. And gardens need patience. And water. And two people who are willing to get their hands dirty. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying until the end of my story. Now go. Send the text. Write the note. Sit in the silence. And then break it with 3 simple words. Let's talk. Please. Oh, and Leo, if you ever hear this story, the toilet paper goes over the top. I will die on that hill. Take care of yourself. And take care of your ferns.